what? How extinction proves creation. Well, that's certainly a sentence, I guess. I mean, it's literally the opposite of how anything works. But I'm sure whatever big brain smart guy who came up with such an interesting concept has at least got some good reason to say something like that to anyone who knows anything about the science, because they might think it's a teensy bit completely fucking stupid.
I find it interesting that evolutionists...
Oh god no, it's Matt Powell. Never mind, this is going to be nothing of the sort. Because as we all know, or will know by the end of this video if you are somehow lucky enough to have no idea who Matt Powell is, well, he's both an idiot of the highest order and one of the biggest liars on the entirety of YouTube. Both having no idea what he's talking about and also just making up shit all the time, endlessly and forever. Frankly, if there was some way to power the world on just utter bullshit alone, he would be the most valuable human being alive.
Evolutionists will go on and on.
I mean, there you go, point one immediately. Evolutionist, not a thing. It just isn't. It is not a word that anyone but creationists will use because they need to make you think that it's a comparable idea to theirs, and thus say that people who understand and accept the actual science must be an ist in regard to evolution. But no, there are no gravity-ists. Gravity is just true. There are no germ-ists. Germs are just real. And there are no evolutionists. Evolution is just a thing that happens, whether you like it or not.
About how they want to save species and they open up animal shelters to save certain species.
Right, okay, what? No one who understands and accepts the science on the diversity of life has to be a conservationist. I mean, some will almost certainly be that, but that is not a requirement for being correct on this particular subject. They are effectively unrelated, especially when it comes to things like natural selection, because, well, interfering with it would stop it being natural selection and move it into the realms of artificial selection, and thus be a different field of study. But sure, there are people who do know the evolve and also, you know, are interested in saving various aminals. Not sure how that's going to make evolution big fake, but I'm sure whatever it is isn't Matt being really, really fucking stupid. Again.
When, according to evolution...
I'm sorry, I know I'm being super interrupty, but come on. I can't not address Matt using the words according to evolution. Because seriously, he could be about to say literally fucking anything. Well, not anything. The one thing that he has never followed the words according to evolution have ever been anything that is stated or addressed or demonstrated by the theory of evolution. It is always something else, either based on his total misunderstandings or his complete dedication to defending book, regardless of what reality actually shows.
Species should be getting created all the time. New kinds of animals should be popping up.
They do. Evolution is always working. Things are always changing. The issue you are pretending not to understand is that it's not all that fast. But there have been plenty of examples of animals changing. It's just not something that you'll notice without studying it. They don't just burst out of the ground in a tsunami of wildly different flora and fauna at some hyper-accelerated rate, because that's just not how evolution works. It takes time. It is a relatively slow process, and anyone expecting random shit to pop out of nowhere clearly doesn't know what they are talking about. Shonk.
New families through natural selection. Well, we don't see that at all.
Fucking air quotes on natural selection. My god, this man and his tiny little brain. Just because you make sarcastic gestures doesn't change the fact it's a real thing that happens and is a well understood phenomena that has been deeply studied. And again, we do see changes that are explained and expected of evolution, just not to some made up degree that you decided it should be based on your never bothering to learn anything in actual science. And frankly, if you were so confident that it's bullshit, you would go and take an actual course on it, get some qualifications, and then use that to disprove evolution. Weirdly enough, that has literally never happened. I mean, some have tried, it's just they only seem to lie when it comes to their refutations for some weird reason.
In fact, we see animals going extinct.
We do? Gahasp! That can't be right. As we all know, evolution states that only ever more animals will ever exist and no species will ever go extinct, and that if they they do, that must mean that God is real and you should base your life on a literal interpretation of an old book written by fuckwits. And you know it's true because it's written in the dictionary right next to where the entry for gullible used to be.
So what that proves is that if we go back far enough in time, back to the Garden of Eden,
proves back to the Garden of Eden. Motherfucker. You can't even prove that there was a Garden of Eden. That's just something you presuppose must have been real. But there is literally no evidence that such a place as described in the Bible existed. You know, cause it fucking didn't. It's a nonsense fairy tale used to explain the beginnings of the world by people who had no idea how the world, you know, began. But we actually know how the world was formed, and at no point was there any kind of magic Central Park involved. And it all happened way longer ago than the paltry 6,000 years that your book claims.
There were more kinds of animals back then than there are now.
So God did a shit job of making animals that would survive. Damn, what a useless bastard. But wait, so do you think that natural selection would do nothing but produce more and more animals and they would never go extinct? But without extinction, evolution wouldn't fucking work. It is a major catalyst for the animals to fill whatever niche it ends up fitting into. And aren't you one of them that espouses the concept of micro versus macro evolution? That is to say that, oh no, there's like a handful of types of animals that were on Noah's Ark and then they apparently adapted into the multitudes we see today. So surely, if that's the case, then we should at least see a fairly stable number of critters. And perhaps even if they go extinct, others should come and take their place in that niche and basically adapt into the same thing. And at least not that far off the numbers that God did the making of, except it's not even close. More than 99% of every species that has ever existed has gone extinct. And if you somehow think that that happened in the last few thousand years, then you must think God must have been even worse at making successful species than I do. Man, he ain't gonna be happy for you dissing him like that.
According to evolution,
sure.
There's new kinds popping up all the time, new families of animals.
Yes, but over a long time frame, and they simply aren't going to be so different that a layman, certainly in their own lifetimes, is going to notice the difference. Evolution is slow. Human lifetimes are vanishingly short. So study is required. Huge amounts of data in order to show what thing happened and when are required. Anyone who thinks they can study evolution by looking at random animals and shouting, "But it didn't give birth to crocodile," it's 100% a fucking moron.
But according to the creation model...
How fuck off do you have anything that could accurately be described as a model? Models are things that are designed to reflect reality. The creation model is designed to say that the Bible is true. The Bible will always be true. Anything that goes against what the Bible says must be false, regardless of how accurately it reflects reality. And then tries its damnedest to hammer every square peg into its round butthole until it looks like it was in a fucking car crash.
We are constantly losing animals. Animal kinds are constantly going extinct.
Right, okay, then show me your model. Show me how it works and how it came to that conclusion without invoking the Bible. Because that's the thing. You could be right. I mean, not in this universe, but there's a hypothetical existence where the Bible accurately reflects reality and the scientific method would still likely function in said universe. So what you could do is do a science without ever using the Bible for anything. Don't make any predictions with it. Don't work your ways to conclusions based on it. Just study the evidence and follow it where it goes. In your special universe of unicorns and dragons, because you know, the Bible is true there, you will be able to go back to the Bible and you will find that all of its scientifically testable predictions will be accurately reflected in the science that you just did. Everything you've done should match up to it. Because again, in this place, it just so happens to be correct. But for some reason, when you do science in this universe, again, while ignoring random ancient texts, almost every last thing that it says about anything, even remotely like a scientific claim, is shown to be utterly false. I wonder why that might be, Matthew. Perhaps it's because of how right it is all the time.
And so whenever an evolutionist tries to open up an animal shelter and shelter a endangered species, as they call it.
Matthew, what do you think air quotes are for? Earlier, I assumed you were using it to discredit something because, oh, it's actually not real. But even you must know that shelters and animals being endangered are things that exist. Like, you can't possibly actually be that stupid. But then it snakes around to the question of if you know what the hand gestures you are doing actually mean. Seriously, this is like talking about someone who used their legs to walk down some stairs. Like, what are you actually trying to say here? Or maybe you think that people use it and it just automatically means that whatever you are saying is right and everyone else is wrong. I am seriously confused right now. I think he's infecting me with his dumb. And I'm dumb enough already, thanks, mate.
They're just proving that there were species in the past that are getting wiped out now.
See, this is why you had no fucking reason to use air quotes. You know that these things are real, but not how to use a basic fucking gesture, apparently. And no, it proves that there are species now that are getting wiped out. Now, there were species in the past that were wiped out then. And there will always be species that get wiped out. And assuming that humans don't blow up the fucking planet, there will continue to be new species that also get wiped out into any foreseeable future for a really, really, really long time.
That we'll never have again. Evolution will never invent these new species through natural selection.
Wow, he finally said something that's actually kind of correct. I mean, it was completely by accident, and it's definitely not what he thinks he's saying. Because I bet he thinks all those crabs that aren't crabs are crabs because God and science guys are just stupid. But yeah, natural selection isn't going to make the same species twice. No one is expecting it to make the same species twice. Because, as I have said, what feels like a million fucking times already in this video, that is not how it works. Which is, of course, why Matt thinks that it is.
Evolution is impossible to defend, honestly.
Actually, no. Evolution doesn't even need defending. It is literally just a fact about reality. And we have lots and lots and lots of observations that demonstrate that fact. And we have a theory that describes how those things work, how the evidence fits, and why we know it's a real thing. And because we have all that, we can also defend it, even though it does not need us to, because it doesn't stop working because some asshole is sad that it makes his book sound really, really dumb. But you know what's really, really, really hard to defend, honestly? Creationism, because it's a stupid idea believed exclusively by morons who have to make things up about science and tell their followers that this version of science that is not a thing that anyone claims to be true except for them, so that their followers never get the chance to hear actual scientific facts because their pastor has already told them all they need to know about it. And he said it's all lies to discredit God. But the only thing you discredit by lying about science is yourself and any potential God. Because if there is a real God who made the universe to function the way it does, every single day you are slapping them in the face by telling these bold-faced lies about his creation. Better hope he's not the vengeful prick type like yours is, because you will be completely fucked if that's the case, mate.
You have to lie. You have to make believe to believe in evolution.
Oh, the projection is just fantastic. There isn't a thing that you have said in this video that is anything approaching an intentional truth. And at best, you are just so misinformed, ignorant and stupid that you really shouldn't be talking smack about anyone's beliefs about anything, since you don't have the capacity to come to conclusions about fucking anything. But I don't believe you're actually that stupid. I mean, you are stupid, but I just think that you're a duplicitous little shit for the most part. Desperate to hold power over your small and God-willing shrinking group of idiot followers. Because as much as people like Matt like to claim that atheists, we all think that we are God, his God complex is probably through the me-damned roof.
You ask an evolutionist or an atheist, what is the meaning of life? Just ask them that.
What the fuck has evolution got to do with the meaning of life? Like, literally, you could ask an evolutionist the meaning of life, and there are millions of them who will tell you something along the lines of God or Jesus or something to that effect, you fucking numpty. You know, because I've made clear on many occasions there are plenty of non-total moron Christians who think that you are an absolute dumbass. Although they probably wouldn't say it because they're not assholes like me. And atheists, sure, some of them might have an answer, some might have no answer. Some might say it's simply impossible to know, because shockingly, atheism also has nothing to do with the meaning of life, and anybody's opinion of it, you idiot.
And they'll respond back with, well, my meaning of my life is whatever I make up.
Oh look, putting words into other people's mouths as well, which is ironic considering your meaning of life is whatever I made up is your meaning of life. The irony of this man is as ridiculous as he is.
What they're admitting is that they're making up, or make-believing, a purpose for life. They don't think there actually is any purpose.
The thing is, as stupid as this is, even if it were true, it still would have nothing to do with evolution. The universe could have intrinsic purpose, and that wouldn't change the fact that evolution is a thing that happens, for fuck's sake, Matt. Stop being so wrong all the time.
And so they say, well, I'll just make up purpose. That's make-believe, folks. These people are make-believers.
Unlike Matt and his, who believe someone else's made up nonsense. That's way better. Somehow.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the